So I want to talk about some things that have been on my mind. A lot of the conversations we're having are talking points that have been around for years. And if you're a student of history, whether it's womanist theory, feminist theory, black history, you know that some of these conversations have existed for decades. Even if you go back to the days of the Black Panther Party, you had women like Regina Davis and Kathleen Cleaver and others who talked about the physical and sexual abuse that existed within the Black Panther Party and the environment that made it impossible to hold individual black men accountable for their behavior. And we see that playing out on social media now. We live in an environment as black women where if you call out an individual black man for his bad behavior, you're viewed as someone who is attacking the image of all black men. But understand, when people do that, what they're basically saying is, oh no, we're beyond reproach. You can't talk about us. Look at what's happened over the past few years on social media and all the content and conversations that have been had that are pretty anti-black woman. But when you call that out, you're told that you're overly sensitive and you're told that you can't handle critique. You're told that you're someone who's trying to hinder a black man's freedom of speech. And remember, for a long time, black men were telling black women on social media, well, if you don't like what we're saying, create your own spaces to talk about the things you want to talk about. And so you have black women who have created those spaces and they have very large platforms, and now they're trolled. Because, again, talking about your individual experiences or talking about individual black men is viewed as an attack on the image of all black men. Look at what's happening with R. Kelly. Now, you do have some black men who are saying, well, no, R. Kelly does not represent me as an individual. But you have a lot of black men who are saying, well, no, look at the bigger picture and look at what they're doing to him. No concern, okay, for the underage girls that he had sex with. The underage girls that he violated, because those girls do not have the mental capacity to really understand what they're getting themselves into and being involved in sexual relationships. You have a young lady who's come out now saying that when she was underage having sex with R. Kelly, he gave her an incurable STD. And instead of people holding him accountable, they're saying, well, why is she just now speaking out? Why did she put herself in that situation? Notice that when it comes to the Catholic Church and the fact that you have a lot of people, mostly white people, calling out the fact that they were sexually abused as children by Catholic priests. You don't see anyone saying, oh, this is an attack on the image of these people, or this is an attack on the image of the church. No, they're holding those priests accountable. Because when you hold people accountable for bad behavior, you're actually protecting your image. You're showing that as a group, you have a moral code. Okay? Even if you look at, and I'm in my head, I'm seeing a little bit of a connection in the way that a lot of black people reacted to Michelle Williams and her relationship with her ex-fiance. And the situation that happened with a YouTuber over the past few days. Because what I'm realizing is that the reason that so many people are concerned about divested black women or black women in interracial relationships is because it's almost like some black people view black women in interracial relationships as saying something negative about the image of all black men. Okay? So much so that you have women that a lot of black men generally ignored and didn't talk about, that all of a sudden get a lot of attention when they're seen with a non-black man. So for example, if you look at Serena Williams, there were a lot of black men that were saying horrible things about her and how they viewed her looks, but all of a sudden she gets with a white guy, they get married, and all of a sudden people have all this stuff to say about her and her relationship, and oh, they don't understand why she's with a non-black man. It's like, because that's a choice that she made for her personal life. There are two people who met each other and they happened to fall in love. Same thing with Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams was a member of Destiny's Child that a lot of black people made fun of. Okay? They would make fun of her dancing ability. They made certain comments about her body weight. Even though Michelle Williams is a very accomplished woman. She's a businesswoman. I believe she has stake in a basketball team. She also has a line of home goods. I think it's called Believe by Michelle Williams. And she's a very accomplished theater actress. But people ignored that while they were making fun of her. But all of a sudden, when she got with a white man, it was, oh no, she could find her a good black man. This is a woman that's dealt with depression and other issues, and it looks like she happened to find a man, and they both were in love with each other, and they happened to be two people from different racial backgrounds. If you look at the situation with Crystal Swirls, who is a YouTuber, a lot of people are making fun of the fact that her and her ex met on social media, right? And you have her family members sharing the viral video and making fun of her and things of that nature. But when she was dealing with a situation with an ex who was abusive and who was stalking her, the person that she was able to call was not any of these, people on social media commenting on her situation. It was not her family members. Okay? It was the white guy that lived 15 hours away from her who helped protect her. Same thing with Michelle Williams. When people were laughing at her and probably contributing to the depression that she already had, none of these people on social media were anywhere to be found. It was the guy that loved her enough to be in a relationship with her and to propose to her. So what I'm saying is, as black women, we have to understand something. People are really paying attention to what people are saying about divestment and interracial relationships. And we have to understand that none of what has happened over the past few days is a coincidence. It's no coincidence that video clips from Crystal Swirl's live from this weekend ended up on a man's channel who trolls black women who are divested or who are in interracial relationships. It's not a coincidence that that same clip ended up with Atlanta Black Star. You have to pay attention to the invisible hand. Who benefits from an environment where you can't even critique individual black men when they're wrong? Who benefits from an environment that creates a space where black women are targeted when they're in interracial relationships, or those of us as black women who are self first and we take more of an individual approach in certain situations? Who benefits from that? And when you sit back and you look at who benefits from that, it becomes very easy to see Who's the invisible hand? All right.